Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Nazir Mem Vav. We are holding on Mem Hayim Debeis at the Mishnah, which is on line 5 from the bottom of the Amid. So the Nazir completed his 30 days, he brought his karbanos, he has his shlamim already shechted, the dam was applied to the Mizbeach, and he's cooking the shlamim, he has his haircut, hair thrown into the fire beneath a pot, as we learned yesterday. So he's cooking up his shlamim, or shalkan, or overcooking it, different method. What happens next? Hakoyin noiteles hazroya, b'shelim in ayil. So the shlamim was a ram, an ayil. The kohen would take off his trumas, his portion, so to speak, which was zroya, the upper section of the forearm, the cooked zroya. He would take it out of the pot together with two other items, two breads, v'chala matzah achas min asal. From the basket of the bread, he would take one of the chalois matzah, one type of bread, or a kik matzah achas, another type, some sort of wafer. So a different, slightly different variation, one of each. Right? He would take one of each type of breads, together with the zroya b'shela. And what does he do with these items? V'noisin al kapi Nazir, places them on the hands of the Nazir, umanifan, and he does tenufa. So he would wave it back and forth, up and down, the mitzvah of tenufa. That was it. V'achakach, after this process, the Nazir gets the green light to go back to civilization. Hutar Nazir l'shtes yain, v'letam l'mesim, he can drink wine and become tummy to mesim once again. Taisus points out this Tanakam that only gives the Nazir the green light after he completes the entire process, including the tenufa, reflects Shitas Rabbi Eliezer in the Gemara. When the pasuk says va'achar yishta Nazir yain, this is the pasuk, after describing everything that's done, including the tenufa. It says afterwards he goes back to drinking wine. Is a reference to the entire process. All those steps have to be taken to give him the green light. That's Yitzhak Rabbi Lezer, which is reflected in the beginning of our Mishnah. However, Rabbi Shimon Omer, he says, not necessary. Sure, you do all these things, but they don't hold him back from drinking wine. Rabbi Shimon Omer kivish nizruk olav echad min adam, and once the dam, the blood of one of the karbanos, gets applied to the mizbeach, that's it. Hutar ha-nazir, that gives him the green light, l'shtes yain, to drink wine. He's back to normal. L'shtes yain, l'tam l'meis. Tana Rabbanan, here's the brisa. At the culmination of all these steps, the pasuk says, "Va'achar yishta nazir yain," after which the nazir drinks wine. We learn from here, literally, achar hamas and kulan divrei Rabbi Lezer, according to Rabbi Lezer. At the conclusion of the entire process, he gets his green light. V'chacham, they disagrees. They say the word achar is limited to one thing, achar ma'aseh yechidi, which basically means the zrika of one of the karbanos. That gives him the green light. Go drink wine. Go do everything you need to do. My tamei the Rabbanan. How do we understand the Rabbanan? Because on the surface, v'achar yishta is a reference to the entire process. The answer is we have Gzeira Shava, which changes our perception. Ksiv hacha v'achar yishta nazir yain. In our pasuk it says, after this process, achar, the Nazir goes ahead and drinks his wine. Uksiv hasan. We have the other pasuk which says that he'll do the tenufa when achar his galcha is nizra, after he shaves off his hair. So just like over there, the word achar is simply a reference to one activity, haircutting. Mahasam achar means ma'aseh yechidi. Afkan achar ma'aseh yechidi here as well, when it says afterwards, achar, he will go drink his wine. It's simply a reference to one ma'aseh, which is the zrikas adam of one carbon. You don't need any more to give him the green light. Asks the Gemara, 1 second. Perhaps your definition is erroneous. Eima ad ikatarvayu. Perhaps the word achar, in the pasuk of achar, his galcha is nizra, telling us when to do the tenufa after giluach, is not simply referring to one activity, to the giluach. Remember, the giluach took place after the carbon, so maybe it's all those multiple activities. So the tenufa is after the giluach, which is after the carbon. So here as well, when it says va'achar ishta nazir yain, it means after everything is done. Eima adikatar vayu yachik zer shav alamid, because that will be the definition of the word achar. Then we don't need exer shav. It's just this, it's the plain simple meaning of the psukim. So the exer shav would be extra. The fact that we know there's exer shav, we had a Kabbalah, there's exer shav to use these words. So apparently, there's a chiddush here. It's coming to redefine and explain that although on the surface it would appear that achar yishta nazir yain means after everything is done, no. It means achar masi yechidi. Just like achar is galchi means achar masi yechidi, and therefore the Rabbanan say after zrika of one carbon, you're free to go drink wine and become tamil mesim. Amar Rav tenufa benazir ma'akev. You should know the mitzvah of tenufa, although typically in a regular carbon it doesn't really hold back the kashrus of carbon. It's not critical. It's a mitzvah. The Gemara calls it shiyari mitzvah. It's like the leftover. It's like residual mitzvah. It makes it a mitzvah min hamufchar, but it's not critical to the kashrus of the carbon. But here by Nazir it is. 1 second. Aliba the man. Whose shita are we referencing? Ilay maliba the rabbanon. Are we following shitas rabbanon? That can't be. Look, even tiglachas, haircutting, which is on the person, on the Nazir. Still, Amri Rabbanon le ma'akra. Rabbanon tell us it doesn't hold him back from drinking wine. As soon as he's makar the carbon, he's good to go. It's not mi'akiv. Tenufa mebaya. Of course, it goes without saying that tenufa is not mi'akiv. Ela liba de Rabbi Lezer. Oh, it must be that Rab is following Rabbi Lezer and telling us that tenufa is mi'akiv. Well, pshita, obviously, Ham Rabbi Lezer achamasam kulam. Rabbi clearly tells us that Nazir is not free to go unless he finishes everything, including the tenufa. So what's the chiddush of Rav? Yes, there is a chiddush. Perhaps tenufa is not as important as everything else. Ma'od perhaps I would say, kiva dilin in kapara. Since when it comes to the success of the carbon, shiarei mitzvah, it's called shiarei mitzvah. It's not the actual mitzvah. It's not mi'akiv kapara. Usually, it's not mi'akiv. Hachanamele ta'akiv here as well. It's not going to hold them back from drinking wine. Kamashmon, the chiddush is yes, that it is mi'akiv. The Farshim bring the Gemara Menachas. It says the word Teiras and Kenyasa. It's a special pasuk, and although typically the tenufa does not stand in the way of the kashrus, here it would. Here it would hold him back from the heter of shtiyas yain. Asks the Gemara, really? Umi ma'akva, can you suggest that tenufa is mi'akiv, according to Shittas Rabbi Lezer? Vatanya, listen to this Bryce. Pasuk says, Zois Teiras HaNazir. Teira means it's all equal. This is the way it is. All Nazirim follow the same Teira, the same system. The Bryce tells us this means Ben sheyesh lekapayim, Ben she'en lekapayim. So although tenufa requires hands, right, as we learned in the Mishnah. So, whether the Nazir has hands or Lo Yaleinu does not have hands, he can go through the process of Nazirus and, go back home and drink wine. It would seem that the Brisa here is comparing the have not to the have yet, to the yes have. The one who can't do it is equal to the one who could do it. Which basically means the inability to do tenufa doesn't stand in his way. He has no hands to do tenufa. It doesn't matter. Zois Teres HaNazir. We treat him the same as a fellow who can do tenufa. Apparently, it's not miyakiv. It's not critical. So the Gemara at this point figures that Teiras which indicates one single solitary, consistent system for all individuals in all situations, is comparing the one who is unable to do it and saying you're okay, just like the fellow who is able to do it. We don't hold it against you. So we go this way, go l'kula. The Gemara now will switch it. Really? Velo desanya. Well, if that's what Tiras means, what about the next price, which also focuses on the word Tiras, and seems to tell us the other way around, that just like the fellow who can do it is meant to do it, it is critical. The one who can't has a problem. He's compared to the one who can do it. The one who can do it sets the standards. Velo desanya zois Tiras ha-Nazir. Regarding a haircut, what if he has no hair? He's bald. Ben sheyesh le'naz seir, whether he has hair, and he could be a successful Nazir, he can do the teklachas mitzvah at the end of Nazir's. Ben she'en le'seir, whether he has no hair, whether he's bald. So 1 second, according to you, it would seem that the Torah is telling you l'kula. Hachanamid le'ma'akva. It's not me'akev, right? We're going to compare the one who's unable to the one who is. We're going to compare the one who is able to the one who is unable. Basically, it doesn't matter. Right? So, according to you, a fellow who cannot do a teglachas, he's bald. Doesn't matter. Zois Tiras ha-Nazir, whether he has hair or he doesn't have hair, it's okay. But that's not true. Listen to this price, which clearly tells us in all situations, you have to go through this process. There's no exemptions. Vatani, Nazir memurat. You have a Nazir who's bald. Has no hair to cut. He need not pass a razor over his head, meaning there's no hair to cut, there's no point in running the razor over his head. He's exempt. He needs to do that. Although he can't actually cut hair, he has no hair to cut. But he has to go through the motion of putting the tar over his head. V'amar Ravina. Ravina comes and explains. When Beis Shammai say, there's no need. They're not giving him a free pass. Just the opposite. He can't. May in a tzarech leBeis Shammai. When Beis Shammai say in a tzarech, in le takana, that's what it means. He can't. There's no need to do it. There's no point, no purpose. And therefore he's stuck. He has no way out of the Nazirus. Apparently, if that's how you learn Beis Shammai, there's no way out. Beis Hillel who disagree are telling you there is a way out. Basically, you can run the tar over your head even though you have no hair. You go through the motion, the process of havoras tar or reshe, that's enough. So what do we see from here? That a fellow who's unable to go through the steps, he has no hair to cut. He still has to do something. He has to be ma'avir tar or reshe. And that's what the Brisa meant when it says Zois Tiras ha-Nazir. Ben sheyesh lo seir. If he has hair, do the haircut. Ben she'en lo seir. He has no hair, he has to do havaras tar like Beis Hillel. So basically, you see that every step of the process is crucial. If you can't do it, one way, you have to do it a different way. So it is me'akev. So Tiras is not l'kula. It's not saying, well, if you're unable, leave it alone. It's the opposite. Just like a fellow who can do it properly, it's meant to do it properly, you should do it in your way. And likewise, when it comes to tenufa, let's go back to the top of the Amud. Bryce had learned from Zois Tiras ha-Nazir. Whether he has the hands, ben she'esh lekapayim for the tenufa, ben she'en lekapayim for the tenufa, he can't do it. What happens there? So instead of learning that it's not crucial, leave it alone. No, it's the opposite. If he has hands, he has to shake it with his hands. If he has no hands, well then, the Mefarshim explained, the Gemara means put it on the zroya, on the upper arm. That's also a way to do tenufa. So whatever it is, it's critical. It's crucial. Tenufa is crucial. Tiglachas is crucial. Do it in whichever way you could. So Rav, who tells us Tenufa is me'akev, it works. At least according to Rabbi Lezer, who says everything in the system there has to be done to allow him to drink wine, including tenufa. As we see that, yes, he's supposed to do it in any which way you could do. One more thing, says the Gemara, this interpretation of Ravina, back to the hair cutting. He has no hair to cut. Beis Shammai say, leave it alone. Ein le takana. There's no way out. He'll always be a Nazir. This fits well with Rabbi Yehuda's interpretation of the Shitas Beis Shammai as well. The Rabbi Yehuda tells us that Beis Shammai, Shitas Beis Shammai tell us, that there's no point in running the tar over his hair. For Rabbi Lezer, Shitas Rabbi Lezer, they're both on the same track. My Rabbi Lezer, what is Rabbi Lezer? The Sanya ein loy boyin yad v'regel. Basically, Rabbi Lezer is telling you, if you can't do it properly, if you can't follow the directive, the way it's written in the Torah, then there's no way you can do it. We can't improvise. So just as Beis Shammai tell us, the din of teglachas can only be fulfilled with hair, otherwise forget about it, and you're stuck. Fits well with Rabbi Lezer. He's speaking about a metzora. The process of the metzora involves putting the dam of his carbon on his thumb and his big toe. What if a fellow lo yaleinu is missing those limbs? The sanya ein loy boyin yad v'regel. He has no thumb or toe. Ein loy tahara ilamas. He has no way to become tar. You can't follow instructions. You can't fulfill the directive of the psukim. You're stuck. Divrei Rabbi Lezer. So Rabbi Lezer and Beis Shammai work on the same track. Rabbi Shimon disagrees. Rabbi Shimon Omer yanachin al makayma v'yatza. Put it, near the thumb, that's okay. If you can't do it on the right hand, put it on the left side. And shall smell v'yatza. So basically, Rabbi Lezer says if you can't follow the way it's meant to be, you're stuck. Fits with Beis Shammai, who say the same thing regarding the Nazir's haircutting. So basically, according to this version of the Gemara, Rav was Machadesh, Tenufa is Ma'akiv, at least according to Rabbi Lezer. And the fact that it says Zois Teres HaNazir, which the Gemara says refers to a fellow who is missing his hands, is actually telling him to do it, at least in an improvised way. Because in fact, Tenufa is very important. Continues the Gemara, there's another version of Rav, Amar Rav, Tenufa b'nazir ma'akeves, right? So Tenufa is ma'akev by a Nazir. And the question was, Aliba man. Whose shita, is he going with? Is it Rabbi Lezer? Oh, shita, of course. Hamar Rabbi Lezer told us. Every step of the system is important. Achar masam kulam. He's only mutter b'yayin if he does everything, including the Tenufa. Ela Aliba the Rabban. Okay, so perhaps Rav is being mechalesh. But even according to the Rabban, for some reason, the Tenufa is critical to the kashrus of his karbanos. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean? How could you say that? Because even haircutting, according to Rabban, is not mi'akiv. As long as you bring one carbon, you're good. Even tiglachas doesn't hold him back from drinking wine. Tenufa mibaya. Goes without saying. Of course, tenufa, which is only sort of a side, a secondary feature. It's not on the person himself. Do we need to even speak about that? Of course it's not mi'akiv. Now the Gemara will ask on this notion. So before we were asking, well, how can you say it's mi'akiv? Now we're going to go the other way. Really? It's not mi'akiv? It's not critical? Umi loy mi'akiv? You mean tenufa is not so important? Vatanya, listen to this brisa. Zois teres HaNazir. So the pasuk packages all situations as one. There's one single process for all Nazirim. Ben sheyesh lo kapayim, ben she'en lo kapayim, whether or not he has hands, tenufa is crucial. See here, we see that a person is unable, can't go through the process. He's not yetze, and he can't go back to normal. He's not mutter b'yayin. So we see that it is ma'akiv. Really, says the Gemara. You have to follow the instructions literally, and if he can't do it, it's not yetze. V'ala desanya. Listen to the next brisa regarding a haircut. Zois teres HaNazir. We learned from the word toras. Ben sheyesh lo yiser, whether he has hair to cut. Ubein she'en lo yiser, whether he's bald, he has no hair to cut. Right? So it would seem that we're comparing the two things, and here as well, are we going to say Hachinami de Ma'akva? Do you mean to say that it's mi'akiv? Haircutting is crucial, and if he has no hair, he can't get out of his nazirus? We can't improvise? You can't just like run the razor over his head? V'hatan, you have a brisa that at least according to Beis Hillel, it's okay. Nazir memurat, you have a nazir without hair. There's no need to run the razor over his head. He does have to. So it's clear that even according to Beis Hillel, there's a way out. At least just do this thing, run the razor over his head, and you're good to go. So actual teglachas is not critical. Says the Gemara, no, that's not the pshat. Omar Rabbi Avina, by the way, Rabbi Avina was Ravina. Ravina is short for Rabbi Avina. The same thing with Rabba. Rabba is really Rab Abba. So say the Mefarshim. This is Rashbam and Baba Basra and Dal. Interesting. So Rabbi Avina is the same as Ravina before. No. My tzarech lebeis Hillel. When Beis Hillel say he needs, it means to say, I wish he can do it. I wish he can cut his hair. He has no hair. Tzarech. He has to take a haircut. That's the only thing you can do. There's no other improvisation. You can't improvise. You can't just run the razor over his head. Because he needs a haircut, this fellow has no solution. So it's clear that a fellow who's unable to either take a haircut or do the tnufa, he's stuck. So this supports this notion that we had, that even according to Rabbanan, perhaps these things are critical. These things have to be done. So according to Beis Hillel, it's critical. Beis Shammai, interestingly enough, according to Beis Shammai, here they're mekel yesh takana. There is a way out. There is a solution. Just run the razor over his head, even without actually cutting any hair, because there's no hair to cut. Upliga the Rabdas. Actually, this version of Ravina disagrees with Rabdas. Rabdas was the one who told us before that, according to Beis Shammai and Rabbi Lezer, there's no way to improvise. Either you follow the instructions as per the psukim, or you're stuck. And according to this approach, Beis Shammai, the ones who say yesh takana, there's another solution. Just run the razor over your head, do a motion, a teglachas motion. That's not going to be like Sheitas Rabbi Lezer, who says that by the mitzvah over there, unless you actually have the hand and the thumb, you can't. There's no way out. So the question of how, what the Gemara meant. In conclusion, is it that Rav in the second lashon actually held that according to the Rabbanan Tnufa is ma'akiv, or perhaps no, it's back to Rabbi Lezer. We were just trying to disprove our notion that these things can't be ma'akiv. Well, we see that it is. It is crucial. It is critical that these things be done. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's actually Rabbi Lezer. Only Rabbi Lezer is going to say that according to Rabbanan, it's important. You do it. You don't just give up. If you have no way to do it properly, you improvise. But it's Rabbi Lezer who's the one who says that really things are mi'akev, as per the previous sugya, achar kol ha'masim kulam, including the tnufa, which is necessary to give him the green light to go back to civilization. Continues the Mishnah. Gilach ala zevach v'nimtza pasl. Okay, this fellow, Nazir brings his karbanis. Turns out, he brought a carbon, thinking that it was kosher. He did the haircut. Turns out the carbon was pasul. Too bad. Tiglach psula was vachav le'ilve. Unfortunately, he relied on a carbon which was pasul, so the tiglachas is sort of cancelled. He has to redo 30 days and restart the process again. He has no carbonis, he has no tiglachas. Gilach alachata shlo. Now we know that all carbonis, aside from very few, like a chatas, that's an exception. In the case of shaloi lishma, he brings a carbon oila, and he has in mind, shlamim. It's still okay. The carbon is kosher, although it doesn't count, to his credit. He has to redo it. A fellow was chayiv to bring an oila, and he brings it shaloi lishma. The carbon is kosher, but it doesn't really count for him. He has to redo it. A chatas is an exception. We learn from a pasuk and zvachim It has to be done l'shma. Otherwise, if he deviates, he has something else in mind, the carbon not possible. So this fellow brought a chatas, gilach ala chatas, after which he did the giluach. But it turns out that it was shaloi l'shma. Right? So he had his chatas brought. He did his giluach thinking that it was an okay carbon, but it wasn't. And then he brought the rest of the carbonis. He brought them properly. What happens now? He's back in the same boat. Because he relied on the chatas. His chatas turned out to be possible. He has to redo the whole system. New carbonis, wait another 30 days, the whole system again. But that's because it was a chatas. And a chatas, shaloi l'shma, is possible. But this wouldn't be an issue by the oila and the shlamim. Gilach ala oila, oila shlamim shaloi l'shma. He brought the oila shaloi l'shma, did giluach. After which he brought the other carbonis properly. So here actually there's a shaila. Machlekes. Tanakama maintains the same halacha as before. Tiglach psula, his haircut is puzzle. Uzvachav la'oloi, his carbonis don't count. He has to redo everything. You know why? Because as we explained before, even by an oil and a shlamim, where shaloi l'shma does not invalidate the carbon. However, it doesn't count as his carbon. He's not yotze with it. It's a kosher carbon, but as a Nazir who was meant to bring these carbonis, he was not yotze. He did not satisfy his obligations. In which case, it does not facilitate tiglachas. So according to Tanakama, tiglachas can only be done when it's a carbon that counts for Nazirus. Shaloi l'shma does not fit that bill. He has to redo everything. Rabbi Shimon disagrees. A carbon is a carbon is a carbon. Fact is, it's kosher. Rabbi Shimon Omer, it's true. He had 3 carbonis, right? The first one was brought, shaloi l'shma, then he did the tiglachas. Okay, so the first carbon is kosher, but it's loy alaloi. It doesn't count. It's not. He didn't satisfy his obligation. He has to redo it. But at the end of the day, it's still kosher. So the tiglachas counts. Aval shar zvachim aloi, but the rest, the other 2 carbonis, which were l'shma, of course, they count for him. And therefore, says Reb Shimon, the only thing he has to redo is that first carbon, but his haircut's okay, and the other carbonis are okay. Concludes the Mishnah. Suppose this fellow took extra precaution. He had all 3 carbonis to bring, and he brought them all, and then wasn't taking chances. Then he did the tiglachas. Turns out, he was lucky. One of them was okay. Lucky fellow. Tiglach shera v'yavishar zvachim. So in this case, he's been saved because he waited patiently. He brought one, another one, then did tiglachas. Turns out 2 are problematic, but 1 was okay. He's still good. And then he completes, the missing karbanis. Amar of Adabarava, Zoysa Emeris. The fact that Reb Shimon says, in the case of Shaloi L'Shma, where the carbon is kosher, but it doesn't count as fulfillment of his obligation. The tiglach is done. In relation to that carbon, it's still okay. Zoysa Emeris, this tells us something about Reb Shimon's shita. Because Reb Shimon holds, Nazir shegilech al shalmi nadav yatzim. Even if a Nazir brings just a regular random shlomim, a donation, unrelated to the Nazirus, and decides to cut his hair together with that carbon, it's okay. Just like an Al Mishnah. A Shlomim Shaloi L'Shma is kosher, but it's like a Shalmi Nadav. It doesn't count for the Nazirus. The Glach is okay. My timer, where's Reb Shimon coming from? Damakro, look at the pasuk. V'nasan al eish ashetachas zevach hashlomim. He cuts his hair, places it in the fire beneath a pot, cooking the shlomim. Zevach hashlomim. Any shlomim. Like because of al shlomim, it doesn't say his personal Nazir shlomim. Apparently, any shlomim works. And his yaitz. Okay, so in summation, the Nazir would bring 3 karbanis. The chatas, the shlomim. Question is, when is he mutter to go back and drink wine and become tummy? According to Blazer, after the whole process is done, according to Chachamim, zrika of 1 carbon is enough. Rav added tenufa as well. at least according to Rabbi Lezer. That's critical before he goes back to regular life. What about a korban which turned out to be puzzle? Doesn't count, and his taglachas done on behalf of that korban, on account of that korban, doesn't count either. He has to redo everything. What about a oilo shlam shlegishma, which on the one hand is kosher, but it doesn't count towards his nazirus? Taglachas done on account of that korban, according to Tanakam, is invalid. According to Reb Shimon, based on a pasuk, in this case it works as well. All the best to you. Hatzlacha Rava and B'suras Tevis.